Merry Christmas morning, everyone. So, what I have in front of me here is the Pathfinder Second Edition Beginner box, and I wanted to take a second and go through it, unboxing it, just to compare it to previous edition beginner boxes. So, I'm not a beginner. I have been playing Pathfinder Second Edition for about a year, and tabletop RPGs for almost 16 years now. Actually, 16 years now. But I still think it's a nice box set to have, because there's some things you can get in box sets like this, at least in previous editions, you couldn't normally get anywhere else. I know the 3.5 starter box had some unique mini sculpts in it and a unique blue dragon sculpt. Sometimes they come with maps; those are nice. And I wanted to take a look and just see what we got out of this box and find if there was anything here that was useful for someone like me, and from my perspective, to go over this for someone who is new to the game that might be looking at getting into it. So, let's take a look here. Box is big, box is chunky. Let's just get right into her. So, right off the bat, we have a set of dice. Now, this is a set of 6 dice, and a full RPG set of dice is typically 7, giving you a second D10 for percentile. Now, this has changed. I know the 3.5 box came with 7, the Pathfinder First Edition box came with 7, and I believe the 5e box came with 6 as well, so similar to the 5e starter box, getting 6 dice out of it. You get a bunch of these slot bases, which means there's probably pawns in here, and it looks like a code for Sirenscape. Sirenscape's revolutionary app at bringing immersive sound and music to Pathfinder games. Download fantasy player with 10 included sound sets for free. You don't need to register. Unlock a 30-day Sirenscape to travel. Okay, so it gives you a little free trial code for Sirenscape. Nice. And then we have this little sheet here that says read this first, so we're going to read this first. What is Pathfinder? Let me get my radio voice going. Pathfinder is a cooperative tabletop role-playing game, also called an RPG, a fantasy adventure. Grab some friends to play the heroes in the adventuring party. Go on a quest, explore mysterious environments, battle dangerous monsters, find treasure, and tell a story together. So, it also looks like it goes over what's also in the box. I'm not going to read that because I want to see what's in the box. So, player reference cards here appear to give you your basics, which this is nice. I'm going to actually use these in my group whenever we run next in person, if ever, thanks to the world being on fire. That line's going to age every single video I put out right now. So what it gives you here, it basically tells you, like, for checks, how do you make a check? It's a d20 plus your statistic. So if you're making a strength check, it's a d20 plus your strength. It gives you the DC comparisons. So if you critically succeed, if you exceed the DC by 10 or more, successes, meeting or exceeding, and it tells you how failure and critical failure work. Gives you what rolling a 20 or a 1 does, which is increase your degree of success by 1 step. So if it's a success, it automatically critical succeeds on a 20, unless, of course, a 20 doesn't exceed. And then it tells you what a DC is. So a difficulty class is the target number of the check. Add 10 to the statistic to turn into a DC. So if you were making so if someone was trying to make a strength check against you, you would look at what is your strength modifier plus 10 would be the DC. Then it tells you your actions in a turn. You have 3 actions, a reaction, and then it gives you a list of actions you can use, such as drop prone, interact, leap, seek, stand, step, stride, and strike. And then on the back here, which I like, is conditions. Unconscious and wounded have see player's handbook pages because they are a bit more involved conditions. But for instance, if you are restrained, so if somebody were to use the I'd probably call it the interact action personally. But if you're restrained, for instance, you can't move, and you have the flat-footed condition, which is a -2 to your AC, and you can't use any actions with the attack or manipulate traits except for attempt to escape. Restrained is stronger than grabbed, so grab doesn't affect you if you're restrained. Okay, so it also tells you what conditions supersede other conditions. These are nice. So a bit more specific, so some specific to the box content is the 4 character sheets that come in it. So you get a fighter, a wizard, a cleric, and a rogue. And then inside it gives you your sheet filled out. For example, if you were going to play Valeros the Fighter. And then it also, what we have here, breaks down what different parts of your character sheet mean, such as your ancestry, background, class, ability modifiers, hit points, speed, skills, perception, saving throws, etc., etc., etc. It also tells you your attack of opportunity reaction, and it gives you your equipment, and it gives you your shield block reaction as well. And of course your wizard, cleric, and rogue are going to be the same. It also breaks down what your spells are for cantrips, and your school spell, and your spells. Yeah, so all your spells is your wizard, which I largely imagine will be the same. Yeah, so cleric's broken down the same way. And then rogue is going to be a bit similar to fighter, in that it's going to be giving you your abilities in description, as opposed to a slew of reactions and other actions, simply because rogues don't typically work that way. We have our Beginner Box Heroes Handbook, which has a quick rules reference on the back as well, including a movement reference. That's actually very nice. It tells you how cover works, bonus and penalty types, how to make an initiative roll, a skill check, a stealth check, a perception, a saving throw against a spell attack, and a strike damage roll, and an attack roll. Gives you combat round sequence in 1, 2, and 4 stages. And then just gives you a nice players-based primer on what's going on without having to go through this chunky book. So I'd say that's nice. Book, go back in spot. Alright. So, we already saw that we get 4 filled out character sheets, but it also comes with 4 unfilled character sheets, front and back. What do we have on the back? So we've got an equipment spot, a spot to draw your character portrait if you are artistically inclined to do so, spellcasting. So it goes up to 2nd level in the spellcasting, so this is definitely like a nicer beginner character sheet. You'll probably want to switch over to the other sheet that comes in the back of the core rulebook as you get higher in levels. And it gives you a nice little adventure log, so if you're going to play like a couple quick adventures, like a little mini like 1 through 5, that's probably going to be pretty nice. I actually like this character sheet. Then of course, front and back give you a little dice, so you have a quick visual reference to what die are what. Then it gives you your action types and tells you, yeah, so the proficiencies only go up to expert on this sheet, so it's definitely not designed to go like super far in. Now, I've got another book here, which is the Beginner Box Game Master Guide, which is your adventure for the box and all of your creature stats, as well as its own rules quick reference guide. We have a map here, which I believe is the dry wet erase compatible maps that are typically used. They typically use for Pathfinder battle maps. It is double-sided, which I'm not going to be able to show you the whole map, but you get, what's it called here? Menace under Otari, 1st and 2nd levels. Which is nice because if you're like me, and you're probably not going to run this box set maybe more than once for a group of people, you can use this map in other games. And the box does claim that it gives you over 100 monster tokens. So, looks like we got 4 sheets here. Monsters and possible character tokens. So looking here, we got some monsters, we got some orcs, we got a shadow, some skeletons, some spiders, a web lurker. I'm seeing some gross lizard-looking people with scurvy, a wolf, a troll, a snake. We got a sheet here of player character compatible, minus the ogre at the bottom. But I see some wizards, I see some rogues, I'm seeing some clerics, I'm seeing some fighters, all of varying species and races, so that's nice. We got more monsters, and more monsters. And then lastly, we got an insert for the Pathfinder Society. So, overall, I think this is a very solid box set compared to box sets we've gotten in recent years. Like I mentioned, the Pathfinder First Edition starter was the last one to give you your full 7 set of RPG dice. Both this and the 5th edition give you 6 dice. They give you the Inter-Adventure, they give you a rulebook. The difference between this and the 5th edition starter, and I'm not comparing this to the Essentials kit, is you get 5 pre-generated characters in the 5e box, so you get a bit more flexibility if you wanted to have a larger group. But it gives you 1 blank character sheet, so if anyone wanted to make their own characters, they kind of lose out on that a little bit. As far as pawns go, you really don't get anything out of the 5th edition box for character pawns. Do not believe you get a map. It's a little bit less table involved in that sense. And you don't get the cool rules reference cards, so there will probably be a little bit more book flipping, which isn't bad. It's kind of one of those things you have to get used to with the game. With RPGs in general. You'll be going through the book a lot. Compared to the 1E for Pathfinder book, big thing you don't get out of this, because it's less linear to do. The first edition starter box for Pathfinder came with a transition guide, so if you wanted to upgrade 3.5 D&D characters to Pathfinder to make them fit the rules, they give you a little booklet that lets you do so. Transferring Pathfinder 1E characters into 2nd edition is not quite as easy. So that's a difference. You still got pawns in the 1st edition, and you got 4 characters in that as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all we got going on here. Pretty cute box. I like the contents, and will be finding a way to run the adventure once I give it a read-through, because I have no shortage of people who would be interested in playing a new game just to play it. There we are. Pathfinder Second Edition Beginner Box. Worth it? I'd say absolutely. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. And Merry Christmas, in case this video wasn't dated enough by the date that it's dated.